So you get to pick that into an Echo.
Well, we'll see if they're going to leave it open once more. Nope, never mind. Already banned by OMG.
Get out.
They'll ban the LeBlanc there as well, respecting the power of the pick. First picked it in game 1, and then first banner on red side in game 2.
Yeah, you do not want that Echo being picked. And again, we thought it was going to get banned. The priority was very evident on that Echo, but hey, they've banned it away, and every other strong meta pick to ever exist.
Yep, and Ekram's going to be banned as well, so yeah.
Yep.
They continue here. Alistar, of course, one of the other big ones we like to talk about. We'll see what OMG do want to move through. If they're going to keep these bans standard, they are for now. Alistar going to get taken away there as well, so no surprises just yet.
Now, do they want to ban the Nautilus in response, which is what we saw last game? First pick going to Invictus Gaming. They might opt to do that and then pick their own priority champion, of course. They've got all of the junglers available. Every top laner except for the Hecarim is going to be there, so the Maokai, the Gnar, the Fizz as well is also a big option, and Ryze, which is what Zitai took last game, but they didn't actually get a chance to ramp up in damage.
And Gnar actually going to be banned there by IG, so sort of a meh ban, I think, trying to leave a lot open more than anything else here. We've got the Kalista banned away, and IG going to get lots of different picks at whatever champion they want.
Yeah, the Kalista being banned is a necessity, that is for certain, or it would have been first picked and gone straight to Kid. Instead, they have banned the Hecarim and the Gnar, which does leave open the Maokai. The Fizz is always going to be an option. The Ryze again, but we saw how well it actually went into the Ryze was this Maokai.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of pressure there from Shui's Rek'Sai, and they were able to get on top of that Ryze there from Zitai before it could get going. I don't know if Xiang plays it again. He's been a lot of tank players here, but IG instead, they'll swap to a jungler, and I love this pick. Kakao, he looked at his peak on Gragas.
Prioritizing the Gragas, of course, not going for that Rek'Sai. He did look phenomenal. I mean, it's a smart decision to take that away, but again, just keep in mind everything that's available. They might even opt into the Ryze Sivir first pick.
I mean, I like the Ryze flash share from Xiang. He's actually hanging out with Shen right now, just cuz. But I think Sivir's great for Uzi. I wouldn't be surprised if he picked it up again. There's lots of good options here for OMG. They don't have to pick Rek'Sai now either, because they're probably going to get it in the next few rotations.
I'll make a decision, mate.
Yeah, they're considering what they want. Xiang maybe not too sure what he wants to take away. And in the end, they give Amazing his Nautilus and Uzi his Sivir.
Just giving IG some information, you know, letting them know that Ryze and Maokai are available. If you pick one, we're going to get the other is most likely what's going to happen there. And picking up the Sivir with that is a very strong possibility. Of course, Sivir Nautilus is a very amazing bot lane in its own right. And with Alistar banned, the response is probably going to go towards that Annie. You might have the Thresh or the Janna also, so there's still options to take. But you can't really beat a Nautilus Sivir.
No, and I guess for me, what's the response this time for Kid? Uzi challenged Kid game 1 with his Sivir and just ran over him with the help of his dual lane partner, Amazing. He took the Vayne into the matchup last time. Everybody seems to be doing this into the LPL. I don't know if we've seen a Vayne win the matchup yet, so Kid's going to keep it comfortable instead. It's Annie Ezreal is the second and third.
It's a lot safer with an Ezreal, that is for certain. Annie giving you that extra engage option already. Team comp-wise, Invictus Gaming look a lot better than they did last game. They've got a lot more relevant AoE damage. It's not completely single target pick based. They've got the capabilities to teamfight. But while we wait for the last 2 picks from OMG, everything available, the Rek'Sai always the response into the Gragas if they opt into that one. And then they've got the choice of picking a mid laner if they would like, or they can go straight into that top laner of the Maokai and either let Zitai go for the Ryze or potentially the Fizz.
I mean, they are going to give Zitai's counter pick. It's Maokai and Rek'Sai the picks there for OMG, assembling basically the same team comp as last game here. And you can tell they love their big ultimates. They love to go crazy. As Kitties is already locked in Trundle.
He didn't even hesitate.
No.
That's just a Trundle straight away. Why not? I mean, Trundle's good into tanks. They've got a lot of tanks.
Yep.
It's great. It's a good pick all around. It's just I don't really see how it fits in just yet.
I mean, I find it crazy that Fizz is open and Ryze is open, and Zitai wants to take neither here as Rookie. Going to get himself Orianna, one of the best picked blind mid laners, and Rookie, he's just an incredible Orianna player. Yeah,
actually getting that Orianna, it is one of his favored champions, and that would be interesting, but let's not hover on that just yet. We're still waiting on the mid response, and that's definitely more likely as we've got the completed team comp of Invictus Gaming done here, and they've got the engage options, they've got the frontline well and truly with that Trundle pick, even taking away the tankiness of the side of OMG if they use it right. And I guess what is a very relatively low damage AD carry of the Ezreal now suddenly has a lot more damage onto the targets that Trundle ults.
Yeah, and that pick is Azir for cool, so going to keep it very standard for OMG once more again. Basically the same team comp as game one. Lots of dive, but Sivir there to speed everybody up, and Cool on a nice late game scaling Major. I guess on Echo last time, but on a champion is at least comfortable on here with Azir that will scale up nicely. It's, again, Cool setup to succeed. Uzi setup to carry. Sort of behind them, IG, though, have assembled a much better comp than last time.
They do have a much better team comp. It is a lot more well-rounded as an actual 5-man team comp. They're not looking to split push in every individual lane, and all around both team comps, in fact, as we run through them, are looking great. As we look at Zitai and Xiang.
Yeah, Trundle.
Pretty standard from Xiang, but a bit different here from Zitai.
Yeah, we've seen a bit of Trundle, mainly Flandre actually from Snake pulling it out, but we'll see how Zitai plays the champion. Cacao back on Gragas might be the most important thing here as this game is Shui Shui. It's going to take Rek'Sai once more, and Rookie's Orianna's back into Cool's Azir.
Cacao, one of the smartest junglers into a Rek'Sai, especially as Gragas, as we do look at the Orianna-Azir matchup, which is certainly an interesting but very standard farm-oriented matchup, but these ADs are different too.
Yeah, Kid on Ezreal versus the Sivir. It feels like he doesn't have a good answer, honestly, as two engaged supports round things out with Annie and Nautilus. I'm worried. I don't know if IG can handle the dual lane here from OMG, but if they can, they'll have plenty of tools on the top half of the map to start getting other places they can win.
They certainly have a lot more capabilities this game to get through that laning phase. They've got the Annie who can be used as an engage or disengage tool, just all around has a lot of range and is very capable and versatile, and the Ezreal that it's very hard to actually just kill an Ezreal outright.
I mean, they've got decent lockdown CC, they've at least got the Nautilus up, but you're right, it is tricky. We'll see what happens though as we're going to get onto the Rift for game number 2. And we're back here for game number 2 of OMG versus Invictus Gaming. OMG won game 1 in very swift fashion. IG actually surrendering in under 21 minutes. I don't think that's what they want to be doing this game, but we'll see how things shake out as OMG have assembled a very similar looking team comp to last game.
And if there's one thing you can say about the LPL, it is that a 20-minute stomp does not mean tilt. Usually it actually means 20 minutes in the other direction. So coming into this game, anything is possible. And at the moment, we've got a 4-stack with an Azir.
Yeah, and they actually might be looking for a late invade. They're actually dedicated very heavily to guarding this brush by the looks of things, but no one's come to say hi just yet. Xiang will be the first to leave as I believe they've actually spotted Cacao coming in. Maokai going to check for the saplings. Cacao might try and disrupt him. There's a party waiting.
Yeah, if you try and disrupt that, you're going to be facing a whole lot of OMG right there up in your face. And, I mean, it's not likely going to happen. They're looking to do the double jungle start here. Trundle very, very adept at taking that Gromp down, even without a smite.
Yeah, Trundle by himself is actually a half-decent jungler.
Yeah.
So very good as far as the jungle follow goes. Kid and Kitty's going to check for the dual lane in the bottom side, but it's a lane swap initiated by OMG. Going to have Uzi and Amazing probably fast push to the top lane again.
Yeah, it's going to be that lane swap. Uzi, of course, Sivir very good at pushing down turrets, as we can see an interesting auto trade here. The shield decision from Rookie, looking to put some aggression down here onto Cool.
Oh, I love this from Amazing as well. Going for a roam. Going to try and disrupt some of the buffs here. Goes in towards Cacao. Has to be a little careful. Zitai actually zoning him away nicely there with the bite, slowing him down as well. And Amazing, he's taking too much damage. The Doran's Blade coming up big.
Normally, it's great to be in a situation where you can push them away from the buffs, and we can see it happening a lot, but Trundle has this ridiculous amount of kill pressure level 1 from that bite, but really we're seeing 3 members of OMG come here and force them away to their own red buff.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is IG are just outnumbered on that side of the map anyway, so they will have to give up the buff. They won't lose theirs, of course, because they should be able to take OMG's blue buff for themselves. And as a result, this AD carrot's going to get nice, comfortable farm for themselves in the 1v0s.
Yeah, both going to be happy getting all of that experience, of course, both benefiting quite well from having added solo experience. You'd be looking at an Annie and saying maybe they want to get 6 very soon because you are an Annie, but the mobility and the gank pressure that a level 1 or 2 Annie can place down across the map is immense. And unlocking an Annie's capabilities is, of course, where you want to be on the side of Invictus.
Yep, had the W skilled up and the stun ready, so Kitties could have tried to look for roam, but instead returns to the bottom side of the map. Rookie, though, going to take a bit more sand soldier damage. Cool, you can see very practiced on this champion, but Rookie keeping the CS nice and even trying to put the lane nice and aggressively forward.
Yeah, push the minions in, don't want it to be stuck frozen, and you can see all of the members of OMG seeing if they can get their eye in on a gank possibility. Unlikely at this stage, but the heavy trading between these two is going to continue.
Yeah, it's still going on. It's cool. A little low on mana now, actually. Rookie just using mostly auto attacks, so not a easy trade for Cool to win, although he's managing the lane nicely. And instead, looks like Xiang and Shui Shui give up on the mid lane gank, and they're going to try and push out the turret instead.
So they look to be actually hard pushing this one, not even proxying too much of the minion wave. They want it down as soon as possible. That Annie and the Ezreal are not really that good at pushing. In fact, they are completely freezing this wave up right now. So the push advantage well and truly in favor of OMG based off tower damage alone. They're going to be able to get this turret quite convincingly. 4 minutes in timing, and no dragon has been responded here just yet.
No, Kakao's actually on the right side of the map for it, but not going to commit to it just yet. Uzi and Xiang will stick around to make sure the tower falls down. And we should have a recall here and a return to that bottom side. OMG going to start the game 1 tower up.
Missing an opportunity to take down that dragon. Of course, they are pretty stuck into the jungling, so understandable. But in saying that, 4 members on the top side of the map for a prolonged period of time. Now they have to be careful with the swap back to actually have the dragon taken from them.
You can see Annie's actually warding it as a result, knowing that the dual lane's swapping back down. Xiang's going to head towards the top. Uzi will go to the bottom lane with a pickaxe, ready to fight Kids Ezreal. The CS is nice and even. Uzi is really roaring to go here in the 2v2. I like the swap. I mean, OMG effectively just got a free tower out of it.
They did get the free tower, and that is what they want, that early advantage that they can translate into some kind of lead through dives, through aggression, just through team-based play. They are so good at that. And I mean, Kid hasn't actually backed yet, and it's going to be a pickaxe here from Uzi, so they might want to push this into the turret, try and prevent a freeze, and get some items themselves before they even consider trading in a 2v2.
Depending on the pathing as well, if OMG just push this out, with Kid going back and Kid is doing the same thing here, that actually might just give OMG the dragon as well in the lane swap that they started in the top lane.
Yeah, with no knowledge of where the bot lane of IG are at the moment, they're just going to convincingly and confidently push this into the turret. They're going to get some damage down, or they're just going to go straight to that dragon knowing that everyone has recalled. We'll see what they look to do, but at the moment, it does look like it.
Yes, Shui Shui looking to start the dragon. Ward's actually coming down.
Never
no,
mind.
a gank here instead, potentially, as OMG, I guess, don't have enough vision to actually
I like
take
that,
the objective.
actually. He wants to recall, but he's going to put himself in a position. That's so cool, the Witch's Hat. To actually see them with the Tremor Sense if they do come to ward, and that would have given the opportunity for him to cancel that recall and catch someone. But instead not finding anyone.
Yeah, tactical recall there. Nice stuff from Shui Shui. As we do see the mid laners getting their first initial items. Chalice completed for Rookie and a Fiendish Codex actually done now for Coolest. Kakao's coming to the top side of the map. Might be looking for a gank onto the Maokai.
He's actually placed a deep ward there to see if the Nautilus or the Sivir decide to land swap. I guess that's just a very deep ward to spot a gank in the top lane. Xiang, evidently from that ward, looking to have a confident 1v1 against Trundle while Kakao hangs around.
They should know where Kakao is, though, I believe, because he collapsed the tunnel. But, I mean, he's on the top side of the map, I guess, trying to make sure Zatai gets through the laning phase. Nice spell shield there from Uzi. Going to make sure he gets a bit of mana back here. And again, holding the wave, not in a rush to try and push down the turrets. I think Uzi just wants to dominate Kid again, and he's gone back and gotten a tier. That is not a combat effective item against Pickaxe.
No, it's not. He wasn't even essentially using that spell shield to get any mana back. He was using it to deny a last hit with the Q, and instead just getting the mana back as a bonus. So a very cute and clever play there from Uzi as they're trying to cement that lead. And you said it, a tier into a pickaxe, there's no real way for you to trade that without putting the poke down first. And if he has a spell shield, putting the poke down is infinitely more difficult.
It is. And I mean, cool, you can see, hanging out with his team. Still got his very messy hair. I see it starting to grow, I think, over his headset at this point, down towards his eyes. Going to have trouble seeing the mid lane in a couple of weeks' time.
It's a fashion look. The messy hair is a look.
It's very unkempt. We've been through this quite a number of times. Cool. I'm sorry, your stock is not rising as far as hair goes, but your play has been great so far, even though last game, maybe you didn't have as much involvement as you might have liked here. Rookie, I believe, might be the one with the issue, so we do have a pause here in this game, but things sort of going to plan here. It's just that OMG sort of started slightly ahead.
They did start slightly ahead, but not as snowballed as it was last game, thankfully. So
yes.
We're seeing a much more even battle here at this stage of the game, and it's going to play into both teams' hands, so no one getting a genuine advantage from the slowing down of the game, from no big advantage going to anyone. They both scale very well.
Very curious to see why OMG didn't want to start that dragon, but I guess it is vision related here. I mean, we can see, given where the positioning that and our perfect information, that they could have just done the dragon, but of course OMG don't know that on the rift.
Well, I mean, there was a 30-second period where there was no vision of the Invictus Gaming lineup, and the assumption was that they had placed a ward in the dragon because they disappeared in that direction. So fair enough on not starting the dragon, and not actually knowing that they'd recalled as well is another factor. It was an assumed fact, based off the items that the Ezreal had, he did need to recall. But they decided not to go for that dragon. Instead, they were looking to keep control in the lane and push it in with Uzi.
Yeah, and I like what they're doing in the lane as well, sort of keeping it in the middle, forcing Kid to come up too aggressively to get CS, denying last hits with the spell shield there, all this cute stuff that Uzi's doing. He's always been good at this, bullying people in the lane, but I think Amazing's really stepping up week to week and playing into the same style that Uzi's trying to promote.
He definitely seems to be catering to Uzi a lot better, and it is something that takes a little while for a lot of supports to get used to, is that everything that you have goes into Uzi. You need to be completely self-sacrificial, almost like TCT from Xiaogu. Just give it all up for your AD carry. But Uzi makes it work so well, of course. He capitalizes on the aggression of anyone else infinitely better than any other AD carry.
He does. And Kakao, you see him sitting on your screen, stone-faced here. I think maybe feeling the loss of the last game. Does have the Gragas has had a much better start here in the game. Couldn't get the pressure rolling on the Nidalee at all because Uzi just got completely out of control. But I think I'm worried about this mid game. The Dragons are neutral. OMG do have the tower. Everyone's getting some farm here, but OMG, we've seen them fight in the mid game. They look great together when they're diving or just picking straight 5v5 team fights. And Uzi and Cool are both going to be unlocked here in the mid game. Their items are starting to come through already.
Yeah, Uzi and Cool going to be big once they start really ramping up in the items. And of course, Uzi having a small item advantage over the Ezreal gives them a window where Sivir will be much more relevant than an Ezreal. Once you get that Infinity Edge, or even just the Avarice Blade with a BF Sword and the Pickaxe, you're going to be doing more damage than what is an Ezreal build of an attempted Trinity Force with a Mana Mew, most likely. Just the raw damage difference between them, the utility difference that you have with the Sivir Ultimate.
Yeah.
All around, there's just this window where you can actually take an opportunity and group up as 5 people and fight.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Sivir just take over, it feels like, as far as the metagame goes, is really exceptionally strong. Uzi's a great Sivir player as well. And we've even started seeing finally some Sivir bans come in. But to me, it's crazy to think that IG would gift Uzi Sivir 2 games in a row. They certainly pay for it in game number 1. We'll see if they pay for it here as well. But Uzi Sivir, again, it's slightly sad to talk about it. He's now his best current champion. But it is his best champion right now.
Well, when you don't get Callista ever,
that's true, actually.
You kind of get pretty good at another champion.
You do.
So being able to play a lot of Sivir is quite funny that it actually has been let through. We've seen the Sivir win rate skyrocket at the start of this split and has been quite consistent at a high rate. I mean, it's too hard to actually ban away the Sivir, solely on the fact that you have to ban away so many more targeted picks or super strong meta champions. Callista always a ban.
Yep.
Fizz always considered. Maokai, Alistar, Nautilus. I could just go through all of them. Echo Rise. Yeah.
I think that's actually the big thing. We mentioned this a bit to me off air, but 5.10 introducing these strong picks with the Rise and the Echo in particular means all of a sudden the ban priority that he once had sort of thrown out the window.
Yeah, adding 2 extra bans to what was generally already a target-focused drafting phase puts a very awkward predicament for a lot of people during the drafts now, where there's going to be essentially 2 more champions available that are exceptionally strong. And a lot of decisions need to be made based on what they want to do in the draft or as a team comp to work around that and cater for it. It is a much more diverse drafting phase, and funnily enough, it is the right decision. Like, in terms of drafting, you may as well have more options than limiting it to one strong option.
Yeah, and I think you can see some IG signs there in the crowd. Clearly a team with quite a lot of fans there as well. I think I saw about 4 different Kakao sides, so a very popular player in China there as well. But I mean, IG, their results recently have been, it's just hot and cold. There was a lot of truth to that last split there as well. That last game was an atrocity as far as they're concerned. That's not that's not the level that they can play at. I mean, we saw them play yesterday. Looked amazing there against LGD after that crazy, crazy game too. But I think OMG getting better, looking a bit more consistent. You can see Shueisha just sort of hanging out, chilling there, waiting for the unpause to happen so we can get back into this game.
In absolute non-moving fashion. He is waiting to get back into the game. I love these close-ups. They're way too close. It's awesome.
Hey, look, man, you got to
right up in your face.
You got to capture the emotions of the players. You can see Kakao.
What emotion are we capturing here?
I think Kakao is
non-emotion an emotion?
Yes, that's Kakao.
Okay, we're capturing the Kakao.
I mean, as I said, Kakao almost never looks happy actually when he's playing. He's a very focused player, I've noticed, whenever I spot him in the player cams. But he cannot be happy with that last game here. He's pushed on the Gragas now. It's one of his best champions. He's probably expected to perform on it here, but IG, man, sometimes they do crazy stuff and it works, and sometimes they're just IG.
And that is one of the biggest issues we've had with Invictus Gaming so far in this split, is it's always a question about consistency, but from watching all of their games so far, it starts to feel like the consistency is based off drafting. And every single time the game, it's because their draft is actually just completely outplayed by the opposition team. That last game, it made no sense, but they did it and it didn't work. They lost in 20 odd minutes, and now they came back and rethought their strategy and have found themselves with a much better team comp this time. So coming into this second game with a much more even beginning to the game also, we'll see how they go as the game progresses.
Yeah, we will. Man hides back behind his Totoro. Looking very cute there, his Totoro. I mean, OMG, look, having fun. I have to say, whenever I see them, especially Uzi and Xiang, very happy, very smiley team. It's nice that they feel very friendly, like a big family. OMG's a massive team, both as an organization and as far as the number of players that are actually on their current roster.
Yeah, well.
Seeing their group photo, it's like...
that's a Greek family.
It's like a Korean girl group.
Yeah.
It's just so many of them. And they're looking good. I feel like every week we've seen OMG, starting with week 1 where they looked a little bit off, if I'm honest with you. Just couldn't quite get it together. To now in week 4, as we're maybe halfway through the first half of the LPL split for summer, they're certainly improving. And we expected Cool and Uzi to be good. They're always going to be good. But the new teammates, I think a lot of people had questions for them. Removing players like Going, like Loveling's always going to carry a lot of stigma with it because they're such legendary players in the Chinese scene. But OMG, they knew what they needed to do to finish strong in the playoffs and probably even look towards Worlds at the end of the year. And I have to say, the move seems right so far. The team has just looked that much better. And for me, the most important thing is they keep getting better as well.
Yeah, the move does feel at this stage that it's starting to have some truth behind it, essentially, that they've just really started to come into their stride as a team. And they're not completely refined just yet, but they are well and truly on the track to being that ridiculously amazing team.
And you can see IG, I feel like, have that same potential. And their roster sort of came through. They were looking quite good. But it's been the inconsistent thing. In 2014, IG were known as the team that always split the series as 1-1. And it feels like they're doing a lot more of that here in summer. They had really hot streaks and really cold streaks in spring. But it feels like they're back to their old form of just being a little up and down here in summer.
Yeah, they have felt a bit up and down. And again, a lot of teams, in fact, are getting those weird 1-1 splits at the moment. It's very interesting that that actually happens because these teams, they aren't really momentum-based. It comes down to the pick ban and decision-making in-game. All completely different, but all have these very unique styles. Invictus Gaming seemingly losing to their drafts. OMG seemingly losing on early game decisions that put them behind. If Uzi doesn't find himself ahead, they generally tend to struggle. But at the moment, I mean, they're doing quite well. Uzi always finds himself ahead.
I mean, this is the thing about OMG now that I think we've seen in the last few weeks. They have a very strict style that they've just starting to master, it feels like, as they go week to week. Dive aggressively, use big impact ultimates, and just go in at every possible moment. It's really cool to any long-time Chinese viewers because they're basically playing 2013 OMG style with a 2015 lineup. Invictus Gaming, though, I don't know if I have the same sort of identity yet for that team. They've got very strong players. I can tell you a lot about, how consistent Kid and Kitties are, how good Rookie and Tataya, how aggressive Kakao can be, but it's not cohesive yet. RG have yet to present us with a real team play style that they are able to do consistently and always show, and it just feels like they're still figuring stuff out.
Individually, they have a plethora of information.
You can just too much talent.
Endlessly discuss how good they are at the game. But when it comes to that teamwork, you're right. Their identity is on and off, essentially. They're this beast team that just wrecks through people. We saw it in Game 2 against LGD. Or that just completely gets turned on its head and they lose in 20 minutes like that last game. We don't really know what Invictus Gaming bring to each game just yet because their identity is found, but it's not consistent.
And for me, it feels like the KT duo just need to get things going at all possible moments here. So do pop back into the game. A lot of this is on Kakao and Rookie. Kakao, to me, feels like he leads this team as far as, dictating play. Probably some shot calling in there as well. Whenever he looks good, his team looks good as well. I think he's suffered recently. We've seen his Sejuani games there in his match history. It's just not been the same.
It just doesn't feel like what you're used to seeing from him. I mean, the shot calling evidently has to be there from the jungler. He does seem like a completely different person once he gets onto that Gragas and occasionally the Rek'Sai where the early pressure is there. And he's a man who has the smartest rotations and jungle pathing that I've almost ever seen. So if he can utilize that on an early pressure jungler like Gragas, we've seen some very unique styles of counter ganks even in the jungle from him, where he takes on a Rek'Sai by standing still and just expecting them to come to this area, meeting them with a drunken body slam and rage all over them.
Yep. That's never good. You never want to have rage
Oh,
poured
no.
all over you by Gragas. And I think Gragas is certainly Kakal's best champion, so I like the pick here. I think he needs to be more consistent maybe in his play, because when he's good, he's absolutely incredible. But when he's bad, he just has that sort of Nidalee game. And he's a great Nidalee player, don't get me wrong. He just needs to make sure he's always there to have impact for his team, because his team needs him. Kid and Kitties aren't going to hard carry a game. We've said it time and time again. We'll probably be saying it until the end of time here at this stage, and they're probably playing League of Legends the whole time there as well. They're just that good and that consistent as far as duo lanes go. But Zatai, he can be on enough, but he doesn't always carry. And Rookie's very consistently strong, but he needs a team behind him to be able to carry there as well. All of that to me says that IG need Kakao to be the person that's hitting the go button and that's leading the charge for this team. And until that happens, until that's consistent for Kakao and the rest of his team, IG are always going to remain a hot and cold team in the split.
They need Kakao, but in a way they also would like to have as a second option Zatai to step up and become this massive impact, not only in the lane strength that he always possesses, but being able to roam like we saw in the last game and impact the rest of the map. It's really important that somebody in this Invictus Gaming roster has a big moment where they do step up, have this big impact throughout the entire team, not just in a lane. Kakao is the ideal target to do that, of course, being the jungler. But Zatai can do that if he decides to step up himself and maybe cement a champion pool, not just consistently diversify it and expand with not cheesy picks, but just so many picks that people don't know how to react to it. Maybe he wants to settle down, slow it up, and just be the second Kakao where he can be anywhere with the teleports.
I think that's actually a really good observation, because Zatai, his good games look ridiculous. Like, he's carrying on top Fears, or playing Ryze and going completely off, or playing top Karthus and doing silly things, or even his good Nara and Maokai games. Like, Zatai is a versatile player. That's what he was known for in the mid lane. So I agree. Zatai's consistency is something else that maybe the team can look at. But the good news for IG is that they do have time to get that going, to find themselves in the split. It's just a matter of, by the end of the split, assuming they make playoffs and can get themselves into that spot, how much have they learned about themselves in that, 11, 12-week, 13-week season?
They have a lot of time to find themselves an identity, as we've just completely changed what we look like.
Oh, that's us.
Oh, no, we're back. All right.
We're back.
No, they've got a lot of time to work out what is actually going on with their team. When they lose a game, why they're losing that game. When they win a game, why is it always such a stomp that goes so well for them? They've got all of this time to work that out. And I mean, we've got enough time to talk about it because the pause has lasted this long. Surely they've got enough time to work it out.
Yeah, maybe. It'd be interesting to see if something dramatic happens in IG's play pattern in the game. Because remember, the Chinese teams are allowed to talk during a pause, which is something unique to the region. OMG, though, just keep getting better to me. Much more consistency. Again, sort of refining a strategy, like basically the old freight train style, with lots of dives, lots of high impact ultimates, and just going and getting a pick and then taking an objective. That's great for OMG. I think they're close to being very good at that at this point.
Yeah.
Not mastered just yet, but maybe a few weeks out. I guess my next question is, what do OMG do after that? Because you're going to need a little bit more than that to get yourself right through the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll get themselves to the top 4 perhaps, but they need to find a way to push through that limit, and they need to find what actually holds them back. They've got a very good roster here. They've got Uzi to work on. Maybe what they can do is stop trying to put all of the resources into Uzi and focus a little bit of attention somewhere else, because at the moment, the amazing Uzi combo seems to be winning every lane regardless. But they've got the jungler free to go wherever he likes. Maybe they can work around that fact and utilize this jungle pressure in another lane to get a second person snowballing.
I think Cool's had great games as well, so he's definitely another candidate for that sort of carry potential. But I agree, I think Xiang actually is a player that's coming into his own. He's very much a role player. You look at all his Maokai games and see, yep, okay, I kind of know what you're about. You just want to make sure you're there for his team, that you're frontline. I think Xiang's a great player. I think he can really come into his own in the top lane. So we do pop ourselves back onto the Rift, and we're still in the standard lanes, but OMG, the same spot we left them only moments ago, it felt like.
Moments?
A number of moments ago.
Several moments have passed.
Kitties gets hooked there. Uzi again. That damage is absolutely absurd. Ignite goes down as well, and Kitties is lucky to be alive.
And that's the pickaxe up against the tier here. Kitty's not having anything to speak for in terms of health, actually going for boots. Finds himself getting hooked once, and that's all it takes to chunk him down.
Yep, Uzi as well. Good harass there. Doesn't take any tower shots. Getting both damage from the Boomerang Blade and the Ricochet. Yeah, level 6 there for Uzi. We've seen what happens last time when he hit 6.
Spooky Uzis once they hit 6 and can hunt people down. Very scary predicament to be in here. As you can see, even the Annie has not recalled.
No, Kitty's
wants to stay.
He's got a stun ready, trying to get a gank off. Vision is not there for OMG, actually. It's all IG as far as Pinkwad vision goes, but they're playing smart here, not going over-aggressive. I guess suspected Kakal's in the area do not want to overcommit.
And smartly and rightly so, of course, because Kakao was nearby. They didn't actually have any vision or knowledge of the fact that Kitties had stayed around. In fact, I assumed he'd recalled. Did he not recall, though? Because he had no health available. He's chugged through all of those pots. He's going to be there with full health at least. But we've seen the volatility of that bot lane if one Dredge line connects.
Yes, and it's I think makes a lot of sense why Amazing wants to play a lot of engaged style champions. When he lands these hooks, when he gets his CC down in the lane, he's capable of just converting. Uzi always has pressure on an AD carry into just getting himself further and further ahead in the lane. You can see he's got a good CS lead there, almost 20 up for Uzi, and OMG going to safely now start this dragon.
Speaking of CS leads, though, we're seeing one translate in the mid lane also, with Rookie actually taking up about a 10 CS lead here, and already having recall means he's going to have a slight advantage over that lane.
Well, first dragon does go there to OMG, so first tower and first dragon rights are theirs for this game. But cool, does catch up a bit, pushes the wave back out and goes to shop. But Sorkshoe's done nice and early here for Rookie, looking to get a bit more aggressive in the mid lane.
He has got Sorkshoes, that is correct. Up against the Morellos, of course, the damage difference is substantial between those two items because he only has the chalice, but he's looking for that flat penetration. Up against someone who's going Morellos first, I actually really like this decision. He does not have any magic resistance to speak of, besides most likely in those runes. But even then, most mid laners go for that CDR per level as, whoa,
yeah,
hello.
Kid getting ulted, Arcane Shift, and flushes out of the way. Shui coming in, gets the double knockup. Amazing flushes in as well, and Kid's already dead. First blood goes to Rek'Sai. Kitty's now going to get chased down. Looks to go down here as well. There is the double coming through for Shui. Amazing in trouble. Ulti there coming though for Orianna, and a double kill for Trundle. Xiang's down a little late. It's 2v3 right now as Cool's going to join the party. Uzi getting low, gets knocked into the wall. Cool, can he play cleanup? I don't think he can. Doesn't have enough. He's got his ultimate. He's trying to get the damage down. Goes in aggressive, tries to ult Zatai. Doesn't get it, but he will get one kill.
Didn't hit the ult, but still find the killers. You can see a massive rotation here. Zatai actually locking them down with that pillar of filth. Ridiculous. Well, it's actually a witch's hat. Managing to lock them under the turret. They pick up the kill onto Nautilus. They turn it around completely with the Orianna Shockwave, and a double kill for Trundle on a smart rotation from a teleport.
Really nice stuff, and Cool getting to the roamlet. Xiang there teleporting a little late as well, and IG all of a sudden equalize those kill score back up. They're still behind about 1,000 gold, but they're not folding to the OMG pressure this time as Rookie gets smited. Shui going in, and he might just get a solo kill. He does.
It's too easy. Use that neural network, get there with the tunnel system with the ultimate and catch someone out of position. Overzealous, trying to get some extra farm in after the end of a team fight before recalling.
This is so smart as well.
This rotation, this map movement in particular, Zhuizhui picking up a solo kill at the same time as the rest of OMG, very aware of the fact that the Orianna had to at the very least recall or he would have been too low. They pick up a free turret for their troubles after a big fight that arguably didn't go in their favor.
God, OMG still going with the rotation. Shui lining up to dive onto Zatai. Xiang goes in, gets the Arcane Smash, now taking the turret. Uzi, Boomerang Blade in, another kill there for OMG. They will not be stopped.
And they just completely turn it on out of nowhere. These rotations going everywhere across the map, picking up anything that crosses their path right now. These tunnels from Zhuizhui getting himself into the backline, the Maokai to enable it. This is just ridiculous right now.
This is awesome stuff from OMG, and now they jump themselves back up. 2,500 gold in the lead as Kid trying to get some damage done to the turret, but he has to leave. The rest of the team is coming. OMG will not fight or push where Orianna is. That's smart as well. In fact, Kid has to run all the way back as Amazing might be looking for him, but his tower's very low as well. As Kakao goes in, Cool ultis them away there. Ulti though from Rookie's going to get him a kill. Very smooth stuff there from the IG mid laner.
He puts down his own turret in a valiant attempt to get away. They're using the Emperor's Divide, but the Orianna Shockwave bringing him back to earth with Annie being there to throw that stun down, and a kill going to Orianna. Very smart play here from Invictus Gaming, getting a kill of their own.
Yeah, 1-1 and 3 now up for Rookie there, as well as Uzi holding the wave, really trying to keep Kid in a hole.
Good luck, kid. The
Yeah.
difference between them right now is a pickaxe to a pickaxe and then a BF sword to a tier longsword.
Yeah. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that's a lead for Uzi.
I'll let you know that is in favor of Uzi.
Thank you for the free information. As OMG holding the wave, trying to deny a bit more CS, knowing that the turret in the bottom lane is pretty much theirs for the taking at this point.
100% theirs to do as they will. They've got the Rek'Sai who has his ultimate available, and there is a tunnel conveniently there, but Zitai is the focus.
Yeah, Droidtroy going to go back in again there for Xiang, but can't quite get in range. Speed up. Not his, I don't believe. I think it might be a visual bug, actually.
That was his.
Oh, it was? Okay. I didn't see him speed up as OMG. Look in. Q will miss their kid. Probably going to lose this tower just to minions at this point and going to get zoned off even more. They cannon minion may go down. Uzi instead going to get the turret. Oh, just miss it, actually. Poor Uzi. But that's 3 turrets now for OMG. All of the outer turrets gone.
In the past 2 to 5 minutes, it's just been OMG turning on this rotational play. It's been exceptionally smart from them. They end up getting 2 turrets, the mid lane and the bot lane, and they're killing the top lane all the while. The Sivir rotating with them all. They've got a Nautilus, Rek'Sai, Maokai. Between all of them, if they pick one person out of position, that person is dead.
Yeah, and Cool's got blue buff now, and Dragon's back in a minute 5. People going to go back, spend their gold, and OMG going to be nice and strong for the upcoming Dragon fight.
And I guess the fact that I didn't even notice as to why Zitai went down so very, very quickly is that he has a Tiamat.
Yeah, I mean...
And he's wave clearing with that Tiamat, but it makes him pretty squishy.
It does, and this is the build that Flandre has advocated. You need to be a split push threat. Trundle, once he gets going, is immovable in the top lane and chunks out turrets so quickly there by pushing out the waves with the Tiamat here. It takes a while to get going is the problem. Zitai is vulnerable right now, and Rookie, probably the shining light for IG. Has his Athene's done. Sorkshoe's completed as well. 1-1 and 3 on the Orianna. He's looking good. He's got 100% kill participation. But I don't know if Rookie by himself can stop what OMG are trying to build here.
If the Orianna gets another kill, then definitely has the capabilities of at least being able to solo carry a team fight. You don't often credit Orianna enough for the amount of damage that she can put out, and it is massive. On a player like Rookie in particular, but they have vision of Invictus right now. See your kitty's health bar.
Yeah, cool, nice stuff. Maybe even going to get the ward down here, or they're IG looking to fight instead. Teleports are up for the top lane as IG are going to challenge OMG for this Dragon.
Zhuezhui is extremely tanky. They've got that Aegis on both sides, in fact, so having big fighting items between these two teams as we look at Sorkshoe's completed, but only really the split pushing option of the Trundle up against the team fighting decision and item build here out of the Maokai. One of the bigger determining factors between these two right now as to how a fight would go.
Yeah, that's the second game in a row now that Xiang's got a ridiculously early Righteous Glory at 1-0-1 with almost 100 CS. Uzi was actually down farming the bottom lane, so he's slow pushed that into the turret. Now Zitai pressuring on the top side is going to get massive damage under this turret, as you can see. But OMG, they know what they want. It's this Dragon.
Now, he is able to split push quite convincingly and at least try and keep the Maokai there. If he teleports, it is going to be a top turret 100% going down, but will Zitai want to teleport with him? Or will Zitai be quite content in taking turrets, potentially 2 of them, in fact, just because he split pushes so hard?
Uzi's got an Infinity Edge now, so he's doing
God.
good damage at this stage. Kid also as well, a Tierra pickaxe and a build water cutlass. I think he's going blue Ezreal, but he's got no completed items right now.
I mean, I think he's kind of stuck between a million items at the same time. So regardless of what he's actually going for, the difference between OMG and Invictus Gaming right now is essentially their ability to do a fight or a team fight or a dragon at all is completely at their will. They are ahead in items.
They are. Uzi especially once again. Found himself ahead at 0-1 and 4 in this game. Invictus Gaming looks to give up the Dragon. They'll port in though. Xiang will port in a little later. Treasure wants to finish the Dragon. The smite goes to Kakao though, but then it's going to fight. Xiang dives into the backside. Shueishui's there as well. Cool takes out Kitty. Uzi with the ulti. Good double shockwave though for Rookie, but Xiang flushes out just in the nick of time. But Uzi spell shields the body slam. They need to re-engage. Cool finds Kakao and rides him back into the team, and it's 2 free kills for OMG.
They turn it back on, but the Dragon going to Kakao does give them one back in their favor. So after all of that, they do trade 2 people and they get the Dragon. They're not going to be able to translate that into any kind of objective because they're already down here for the side of OMG. They've already taken the mid lane, the bot lane, and the top lane turrets, but Cool is being super aggressive, and the fact that he turned that around to give them a second kill, so strong.
Yeah, his is great here, and we've talked about Cool as a player. Aggressive on pretty much all of the champions, even the more poke-oriented ones like the Azir here. So looking strong, got a need to see large rod now, so starting to build up that AP. Rookie Probably has to go back and spend some of that gold, although a good level in this game, level 12, almost has that maxed out points for Q and W. Amazing coming into the mid lane to try and defend the turret, but it might be a little too late for OMG. Nope, never mind.
No, it's not.
They've got a few more. No ulti for Amazing being the key factor there, although Xiang is looking, but will get spotted out.
No mana from Rookie and Kid, basically, forcing them back the second someone appeared just because he was able to stop that. In saying that, bringing 3 people to the mid lane does give them a turret in the top. It's now 1 to 3 in turrets, and they're finally getting something back.
They are, as Uzi in the bottom side continuing to make Kid fall further and further behind. This is Uzi at his finest, you have to think. You're just trying to constantly make sure the other AD carry gets further and further down.
Yeah, Uzi doing what he does best at the moment. He's got that Infinity Edge, working towards his boots too again. We'll see if he wants to go for a Phantom Dancer instead of a Static Shiv afterwards. Yeah, see you later.
Amazing, just hanging out in the jungle, puts a couple deep wards down, and manages to recall to safety. Kid trying to clean up CS in the bottom side, does have his Manamune completed. So we're going to have a little bit more as he builds that up, but that's quite late for the for the actual item. The transformation itself going to be even later.
The tier was early, but he did go for a lot of other items before actually finally finishing that Manamune, wanting the Cutlass, even getting boots and a dagger as well before finishing that one off. So finally, he does have that scaling. He's getting somewhere, and it will start to affect them around, let's say, the 25-minute mark.
And I actually like the Blue Ezreal build, who in the team comp that Invictus Gaming has put together, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of displacement abilities, lots of CC that they're going to be throwing out. So Ezreal being very self-sufficient, kiting around the fight, could be enough here, but OMG getting stronger and stronger. They've sort of kept the gold lead at a reasonable length. You're about 3,500 up for OMG, but Uzi's starting to chunk out turrets, and the rest of OMG are in the top lane.
Yeah, OMG making the rotational play again. They're working towards the top lane as 5 members. No Ezreal at the moment because Kid is not available. Now is the only real opportunity they have to try and push down this turret. Uzi has finally joined up with them, but everyone here. Yeah,
Orianna joins in. They're trying to make sure Rookie isn't where they want to be pushing, but Rookie's playing very well to go between the right lanes and make sure he's there to add wave clear. He's got his Athenes, he's got his Need to See Large Rod, and the Soak Shoes are going to help out there as well. But OMG going to start a full-on siege here.
I like what Cool did there by putting his Sun Turret down in the mid lane before rotating to the top to actually siege. Very smart play, keeping the minions in control and forcing someone to go there before it starts to overrun their turrets. And you can see Zatai, though, he likes split pushing, apparently.
That's all he's going to be doing this game by the looks of things. Just going to sit in the lane and be annoying. And he is annoying as Uzi might have been caught out here by Cacao. He's going to find him. Uzi's going to get low. Pops the ulti, though. The Tibbers going to try and peel them away as Cool's going to return to the fight to see what he can get done here. Uzi, though, does not fall down. In fact, nobody miraculously dies.
Didn't even use his heal there. So managing to get out with his life. Well done to Uzi and the team getting around him very quickly to save him in a dire situation where the Gragas we thought had found him.
I mean, OMG do need to sort of put their foot down. Losing that second dragon means that snowballing the objective there going to be a little trickier. So OMG instead have to look for some fights, but their comp as far as siege goes, not that good, unfortunately. And Zatai running them around the map means that IG have a very real way for them to get themselves up to the scaling point.
Wait, did you just say OMG hasn't got good siege?
Like,
they've got an Azir and a Sivir, man.
But so hard to get damage onto the turrets. Like wave pushing, yes. Poking, yes. But actually getting damage onto the turrets when IG's there wave clearing.
I disagree because it's the opposite. If IG there are their wave clearing, then definitely they cannot siege.
And that's a siege, right?
But if they can put any damage onto a turret, that turret is gone.
Oh yeah,
they've got a Sivir and an Azir that can take it down instantly.
See, this is the thing. When I think of siege, I think of trying to take down turrets when the enemy team is there challenging you. That's my definition of a siege.
Okay.
As far as actual structure damage goes, they do boatloads of it.
We're currently in the Matrix also, we do take down, I think, a turret.
I mean, looks to be going. A good rotation from OMG might net them another turret there. And that's what they need to do. We talk about it. Actually cracking these deeper structures, the tier 2s and inhibitors, could be an issue here. So they want to make sure they get in and take them out.
Yeah, if they can get to that turret, it is 100% going to go down, as it actually didn't in this case from the looks of it.
Invincible turrets.
It just doesn't want to die.
No, I mean, Zatai as well. He's not stopping. He's back in the top lane. Xiang's forced to go up and try and stop him once more. OMG looking for their second dragon now. It's not the third that they would have really wanted at this stage. In fact, Cool's not even going to try it right now. He's going to go back and shop for some items.
Yeah, it's starting to get some items as we speak of them. Is this Trundle now getting some actual resistances with that Hydra, starting to ramp up more and more. His split pushing is already at its peak just because he has the Hydra for the wave clear and the push capabilities. He can take turrets super fast, and he can basically trade with the Maokai from simply a Merc Treads with the amount of sustain that he has. So able to stack armor now is this Trundle, and it's looking quite heavily in favor of him, at least in a 1v1.
Oh yeah, Zatai will not be moved here from this lane by Xiang, who still needs to get himself quite a bit more health and armor to challenge this Trundle. I mean, Uzi's the one they're looking to get strong. He's got another Phantom Dancer going for the really big carry performance once again on the Sivir. Cool also has himself a Rabadon's, but Rookie just finished his Luden's Echo.
He does have that Luden's Echo now readily available for him, and that's a lot of damage. A big damage increase here for Rookie. Not going for a Death Cap or a Zonia's, straight into that offensive decision. As Zatai, you're seeing two people.
Yeah, Uzi's here as well. That's not what he wanted. Zatai taking a little too much damage. Not that tanky at this stage of the game. Uzi going to kite around. Will finally
go down.
Still alive, but does finally fall. But you can see the problem. That took forever as Shui wants the Baron buff.
Not tanky, but the sustain that he has from that Hydra, the ultimate as well, ridiculously hard to take him down.
Oh my god.
The immediate reaction at the same time as them killing the Trundle was to start the Baron, and it's super low.
Yeah, IG took the Dragon, and OMG going to make them pay. Ezreal ult's close, but it's not enough as OMG find a way to get some siege going.
And all it takes, again, one pick, they translate it into an objective. OMG are super on point when it comes to making everything pay the most that they can possibly get out of a situation. And what?
Shui may be caught actually as IG walk through their jungle, but he'll be okay.
He actually don't think he had vision of them near that tunnel at all, so he just found himself in an awkward spot.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you guys are all here? Well, that's all good.
Hey, enemies.
I guess I'll have to back away. And now OMG going to do the opposite and charge down the mid lane. Baron buff's ready to go. Actually, Xiang can now compete with Zatai as far as split pushing goes, because the Baron up minions will help him out. And this is what they need. They need to get tier 2s and possibly inhibitor turrets here.
And it's good that they've got the Luden's Echo here on Rookie, because wave clearing is really difficult against those Baroned up melee minions, but you've got at least the instant clear of the back, which forces them into an awkward position where skill shots can hit. And speaking of 25 minutes as predicted, there you are.
That's actually not that bad timing for kids, so good stuff there to make sure that Manamine fully charges up or into the Muramana. He's got a pickaxe now as well, so might be looking for a last wisp, but I assume he's going to go Iceborne Gauntlet at some stage, given that he's already finished his Blade of the Ruined King, and a tower fall's been in the bottom lane, I believe. IG getting their outer in the bottom. Is Zatai going to hang out there?
Yeah, Zatai is just everywhere that OMG aren't.
Yep.
That's basically his game plan at the moment. As we can see, the inner turret's going down mid and top. OMG utilizing that Baron, already making a profit out of it, as we're going to see another time that it's taken down again.
Yep, turret is going to go down. OMG now 5th turret of the game, able to be taken out. I think Cool got the tier 2 in the mid there as well, so 5 turrets now for OMG. Zatai is maybe challenging them to a base race here, but OMG with the Baron buff should be able to win that race.
No, I actually think that Zatai is comfortable at the moment, unless OMG commit to a dive. They've got the numbers advantage, so if they do dive, it does look good, but the wave clear.
Yeah, ulti there for Kid, no kill, gets the kill on Cacao. OMG now maybe in trouble as Kiddies puts down the Tibbers. For a kill there onto Amazing, as Shui going to fall down there as well. And OMG, they did dive, but it was a little bit reckless.
Yeah, they dived and they end up losing 2 people for it. And again, in an awkward position now as Invictus Gaming look to run at them.
I mean, they're still going through. Zatai can chase for a reasonable amount of time. Uzi, though, able to run away, does have his flash, is fairly safe in the situation. They do have to go bottom lane and try and get some of those towers down. And Cool going to take their up to camp before he goes back home. But IG are keeping themselves in this game. OMG have not cracked the base yet.
And this is actually really good in terms of drafting and what they're looking to do here. The side of OMG need that Baron to be able to try and siege. And they still have to dive, because between an Ezreal and an Orianna, it is so difficult to get in there and break a base. But then you've got Trundle, who can split push at the same time. He is taking things down like they are nothing.
I mean, Zatai is playing full-on PvE at this stage.
Yeah, basically.
He is just ready in the lanes with the minion waves. Doesn't want any champions. It's too scary. Just wants to try and push down structures and collect creeps. And he's done a pretty good job of that so far.
I mean, champions aren't really scary for him at the moment anyway. They're basically just glorified creeps, because he is so heavy on the sustain and damage fronts. But realistically, he's split pushing to provide his team the global gold and objective control, map control as well. Just everything that goes in favor of Invictus Gaming, while the side of OMG try their best to siege, but it is super difficult for them unless they dive or they catch someone with smart map movements that give them free turrets.
Well, this is a nice movement there through the bottom side jungle, so they'll get some wards down.
Ready,
they don't find anyone for a pick, but yeah, IG are prepped up here and Baron is gone. In fact, they're very ready with Kid and Zatai ready to even challenge for a team fight. Hook finds Zatai there. Shui going to dive back in. Zatai taking actually quite a bit of damage there.
Oh,
but the return is coming through. Orianna does get good damage from the shockwave, but nobody dead just yet.
Nobody going down, but again, amazing with the blind hook, sensing that why are there only 3 people at this turret? It doesn't make sense. Something's wrong. Finding them a big shockwave, but again, they're not really pushed out at the moment. They're just delaying it.
I mean, Uzi going to keep pushing back in here. Baron, I think, is worn off by the looks of things, but IG will wave clear for as long as they need to with this Orianna with Luden, Zeko, and OMG. They might have to try and dive again, but that didn't go quite so well last time.
No, diving does seem to be a very difficult thing for them to put into effect. They've got the Trundle, the Gragas, even Annie and Orianna to a degree. They can turn around dives super well between all of members of this side of Invictus Gaming. OMG, they do have a good dive. They have a very, very strong dive, but against this Invictus side, they need to commit to the sieging and the turrets more than actually going for the champions.
Yeah, you can see just how hard it is for Uzi in particular to get in range and actually do damage to the turret, because Cool needs to actually get into W range to deal damage to them. Can't auto-attack them with these Sand Soldiers. So it's a little tricky for them to break these structures when IG are defending them, but they can't out-split push them because that's Zatai's job.
And meanwhile in the top lane, you can see the prepped minions from Zatai are getting onto that turret, forcing Xiang to be there. And again, they're delaying this game, but they are delaying it at their own pace, based off Zatai's split pushing. And so far, it's been working quite nicely, because the one time that OMG commit to a dive, even with a 5k gold lead, they still come out ahead here in Invictus Gaming.
And they're actually ahead of Dragons there as well. Traded the last one for a Baron. Maybe it wasn't what they wanted to do, but well, the next one's up in 15 seconds.
I mean, they did trade it for a Baron in 2 odd turrets, so not exactly worth, but it gives them something that the Baron kind of stagnated after those 2 turrets. If the next Baron goes to OMG, though, it does start to look a lot more dire. Yeah,
they're going to maybe look for this Dragon just to deny it away from IG. And give themselves a little bit more pushing power, actually. OMG looking towards the area. Dragon is back. Cool will start it. And Invictus Gaming not here to challenge this time.
No, that is going to be the Dragon unless Ezreal hits a Miracle Ultimate, but not likely. The second Dragon going down to OMG. They're looking to rotate immediately to clear out the minion waves, and they just need to work around all 3 minions being controlled, and that is so hard to do with Zatai being a pest. But if they can utilize that, they've now got Uzi pushing mid. They've got Zatai very visible in the top lane as Ezreal steals his minions. A bit of a feud there, and they're all in the bot lane.
Yep, going to look to try and take out the last tier 2 turret that IG have. OMG going to make it 6 turrets. Just the inhibitor turrets left now. And then, of course, the juicy Nexus turrets. But Baron is on the brains of OMG right now. It's back up in 25 seconds.
And I actually don't mind this if they decide to put into effect a 1-3-1 strategy here on OMG. They've got Uzi who can super push things, and it's very hard to get onto that Sivir. He has On the Hunt and the Spell Shield always available to deny any engage attempts. And then that also alleviates a lot of the wave clearance, saying that by having Rookie looking to rotate perhaps. And if Rookie doesn't rotate, Kid can't really deal with Uzi at the moment. The difference between them isn't massive, but raw damage output, if Uzi gets in the face of Kid, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Kid's going to eat a Nautilus ult, he'll die very quickly just under all the pressure and damage that OMG have. Cool is 3.5 items through. Uzi's got 3.5, including his defensive item there for the QSS. Xiang's nice and tanky. I mean,
hello, Death Cap.
OMG are ready to fight as the Death Cap now comes through for Rookie. If that last Shockwave wasn't enough because of items, Rookie now is ready to go. But IG, they need to put the finger on the pedal the foot on the pedal even right now.
No, I drive with my fingers too.
Do you really?
Don't worry about it.
I don't drive at all, clearly.
I always have my fingers on the pedal. They do need to do that, though. They need to step on the gas.
They do.
They need to go into overdrive right now, but
there's overdrive. Xiang dives through. Kitty's getting low. Does flash away, but it's into the wall. Now Shui going to come through. Rookie's the target. He cleanses up, but Uzi coming in. A massive shockwave might be enough to salvage it, but Cacau's going to get locked up. Uzi going to get back into the fight. It's amazing, actually. Does go through. The Tiger to go in as he walks into so many Sand Soldiers. And a weird 1-for-1 trade leaves both supports dead.
They still hit the big shockwave, actually followed by the explosive cast. So bringing them all together, knocking them all apart. This OMG side looked like they were going to be in tatters, but again, the carries of this OMG lineup not actually going down, and now they're finding themselves.
And Cool and Uzi do such ridiculous amounts of damage. The Baron getting low. Sivir going to take that one out as it just melts to pieces there. And Kid Thought about a steal, couldn't get in range, and OMG back with a second Baron.
So they've got Baron number 2 right now, and they're in a very commanding position. On the back of that engage, didn't necessarily go to plan. You can see the damage of the Death Cap, Luden's Echo, Athene's Unholy Grail rookie here. This Orianna is massive and needs to be respected, but until that Void Staff comes out, which we are looking at on the side of Cool, the kill pressure's high, but it's not infinite. And then Zatai kind of just killed himself.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in the fights, he's just not tanky enough just yet here. Still working on the Spirit Wizard. Pretty much under all, like when you fight all of the Sand Soldiers and Uzi, you're going to die.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to live against the damage. You can see they do have the Void Staff and the Last Whisper. So Zatai is always going to be going down quickly, especially if he can't get directly onto them to actually utilize that sustain that he has from auto attacks. So
Yeah.
going down quickly is Zatai. In saying that, it's also the damage that is actually just coming out of this OMG lineup.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous at this stage. OMG find themselves 8,500 gold ahead. Uzi with a built Water Cutlass as the red buff.
Goes to Shui. Yeah.
Good steal.
That's unfortunate.
Uzi maybe wanted that one.
Yeah, he was hitting it. He did want it. He didn't get it,
Are you
though.
sure? I think he was helping his jungler.
I am certain that he wanted that. I know Uzi, he wants everything.
He does, and OMG will push down. They want to try and take the rest of the base at least here. Do need to get some turrets broken down, but Rookie especially is being a nuisance here on this Orianna.
Mid lane pushing from Cool, which keeps Rookie there, and that removes a lot of wave clear, especially against Baron minions. If they decide to commit to a particular lane based off where Orianna isn't, that sounds like the likely and smart strategy.
I mean, they're going to push down mid now, actually.
Yeah. So not likely, but smart.
I think they're trying to split the resources a bit more. Xiang actually, with the teleport, taking up a bit more time. No, actually, OMG maybe a little bit lost here, to be honest. Kind of flitting back and forth between the lanes, but not committing to a push just yet.
Not actually going all in to take 2 lanes at once. Instead, they overcommit to this mid lane. They look like they're going to get it.
They lined up the wave. Now they're going to take it out, and IG just can't defend here. The dive's actually probably a bit too much of a threat, and the inhibitor finally goes down.
Yeah, the Baron minions denies all opportunities for wave clear completely. And from there, a free inhibitor comes down from smart rotations based off the Baron minions being empowered in this mid lane and just overwhelm Invictus Gaming.
Got a minute 15 to Dragon as well, so OMG going to keep pushing in and just apply more pressure. The super minions will start to pour into the middle there as well. So this second touch should be even easy as the Tie getting chunked out there as well. Cool. Level 18 doing dumb damage, and Uzi going to dive it right in. The Shockwave already in, but the carries are just diving into the front line. Rookie gets taken out by Uzi. Xiang takes out Kitties, and Uzi hanging out in the front lines like all good Sivers should. Kid gets melted there by Cool. Uzi still tanking up the tanks there for IG, but there's nothing left here, and OMG completely break it open.
Not a care in the world as Uzi just parades around the front line, destroying everybody. First and foremost, taking down Rookie immediately out of that fight. He hit the big shockwave, but there was nothing to follow that one up as the OMG lineup.
Zatai rides back in. IG, though, tapped them out again, and OMG took a little longer in game number 2, but they sweep Invictus Gaming.
And now the tie is broken in terms of matchups against each other. And on the ladder, we're looking to see OMG move up almost ahead of Invictus Gaming.
3 points is a massive amount in the LPL. It's been a lot of splits recently, but Invictus Gaming could not stitch it together that game.
A very, very strong series even, and that game in particular from OMG, looking like a not even a brand new, but a much more refined side.
Yes.
Every rotation that they make had a purpose, and they executed that to perfection almost. Only one small mistake there was the dive with that first Baron buff. The second they got the second Baron, though, that was game over.
Yeah, in complete control in game number 1, overwhelmingly so, in fact. Felt like much of a similar story there for game 2, and Invictus Gaming, who came off one of the best games I've ever seen yesterday, couldn't find not even a split this time around.
Didn't manage to find the split. They do go down 0-2, and OMG, again, you have to give them credit. It was a phenomenal game. No matter how good the shockwave was from Rookie, and he tried his best to give his team an eye in on that game, Zatai not able to have an impact on that Trundle. Uzi's Siva needs to be respected.
It does. It needs to be banned, I think.
Yeah.
And I like that you mentioned the shockwave. It actually hit 3 tanks because Cool and Uzi were diving the front line for some reason, which apparently actually worked out because Orianna couldn't move the ball fast enough to kill Uzi.
Now, the shockwave was in a predetermined position that she was going to throw it there. At the same time, though, the go button pressed by the side of OMG, running straight past it besides the tanks. And I mean, it didn't even matter. The front line of Uzi and Cool able to take down everyone from raw damage alone. They were doing absurd
the
amounts.
Standard carry front line.
Yeah, that's the standard. When Uzi gets ahead, I'm sure he's the front line and the back line, really.
He was, yeah. I mean, he was the team in a lot of that series. They're cool, though. Much more impactful game this time on Azir.
Yeah.
Still looking good on that champion. And again, he's shown he can play just about anything there in that mid lane. A great showing there for OMG, who are going from strength to strength each week. And a 2-0, again, a rare thing here in the LPL, especially in recent weeks. But OMG, looking awesome.
Yeah, and OMG taking it away from Invictus Gaming, we thought would be an extremely close best-of-2 series. Instead, we see a 2-0 here for OMG.
Yeah, crazy stuff there. And OMG, congratulations. Take themselves a 2-0 win and 3 points there for the series against IG. We'll go to a quick break, but when we return, we're going to have World Elite taking on Royal Never Give Up.